Hi everyone, I'm Ben from SalesSPACE and this is another tech tip. Today we're discussing the Kanban view in Zoho CRM. So if you may have noticed in Zoho CRM that there is a Kanban view button. So today we're going to talk about what that actually does and how it can be useful for you. So let's firstly talk about Kanban. What actually is Kanban? So Kanban is just a graphical way of looking at your data, and it helps to manage workflows. So the traditional example here you can see is the columns. So the columns and the cards. So in this example we've got a to-do column, a doing column, and a done column. And then each item in here is a task or a card. Okay, so this is Zoho Sprints. They have quite a useful page on their website which talks about this. So Zoho offer this Kanban view in several of their Zoho apps. So Zoho Sprints, Zoho CRM, Zoho Desk, etc. So we'll have a look today in particular at Zoho CRM and where it can be useful. So another example of this is Trello. So Trello is a classic example of using this Kanban view. You'll see here the 3 columns, and then each item in here is a card or a task. And the idea is that as you're working on a task, it moves across the columns from left to right. So this is your backlog of work here, your to-do list. As you work on this task, you move it across to the doing column, and then once it's complete, across to done. So that's the idea of Kanban. It's a different way of visualizing your data or your work, and it sort of encourages that idea of progressing the work across. Okay, so it's very popular in software companies. They use this. Okay, so if we jump across to Zoho CRM now, let's have a look at how this works in Zoho. So you'll see here I'm in the potentials or the deals module. So by default the view we see is this view in CRM, which is called a list view. So it's like a spreadsheet. It has columns down here and fields. Okay, you just click on these and it goes through to the details page. There's no workflow, there's no progress or anything like that. You're just strictly looking at data here. So up on the top right you'll see this icon here, and then it gives us the different views. So list view, which is currently selected, and then Kanban view. So if we click on Kanban view, you'll see that changes now. Okay, so we've got different columns here, and the columns are actually based on the deal status. Okay, right, and then each deal is a card in this view, and the idea is that you progress from left to right as the deal progresses. So it goes from identified, then to having a meeting, then across to discussion and proposal, and then to won or lost. So you can drag it across as it progresses. Okay, so you can see it's a very different way of looking at the data, and it makes more sense to use this for some modules than others. So it works really well in deals. So see here, this is pipeline with deals. It really makes sense because you can see that flow of data from left to right. You can see the progression. Okay, another module in CRM where it can be really useful is in leads. Okay, so by default we just see all leads in our list view, but if we create a Kanban view here, we can categorize by lead status, and then we can choose the columns which we'd like to see. And then all of a sudden we see it completely changes. So we've got our different statuses across the top here, and so you might find that this is actually an easier way for you to manage your leads. You can see your new leads here, and then as you contact them or work with them, you move them across from left to right. So you might find that a little bit easier to manage, but you can always change that just by clicking this button here. Okay. You've got some different options here. You've got sort options as well, ascending, descending here too. You've got settings, your Kanban view settings, so you can turn on different fields on your cards. Okay, so it's quite flexible, and you also have the color options there. Okay, so I definitely recommend having a play with it, particularly in your leads or your deals potentials modules. Just have a look at it, see if it works for you. You might find it actually improves your workflow a little bit. Alright, I hope that's been useful, and I'll speak to you next time.